Das fand ich nicht nett, aber naja. Wir hatten nämlich nur 13 Minuten aufgenommen. Aber so ist okay. Ich bin gar nicht gekränkt oder so von meinem Internet, dass es sich gedacht hat, du Hurensohn, nö, Geld jetzt nicht mehr. Vielleicht war das auch ein Zeichen, dass ich ins Bett gehen soll, aber ich kann jetzt nicht einfach das Spiel so. Einfach, das geht einfach nicht. Kann ich nicht mit mir klar machen. Nö, geht nicht. Kann ich nicht mit mir klar machen, also Pech.
Did mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Das Spiel jetzt wieder normal. Kann ich jetzt spielen, ohne dass ich hier gefoltert werde und das Spiel kaputt gemacht habe. Es tut mir leid, Erzähler-chan. Es tut mir leid. So. Sind die Türen weg?
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Hä, that means... Ach so. Das ist, weil ich die PCs ausgeschaltet habe.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
Ich vertraue dem Dude gerade gar nicht.
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Der verarscht mich doch! Bin ich denn jetzt gelandet?
Now this... Well, I'll be honest. I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
Ja.
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job.
Danke.
Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at
Nein,
all.
me neither.
We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
Nö.
Some
Wollte nur
people win
Buttons
fair and
drücken.
square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Ich hab den Erzähler kaputt gemacht. Ich hab das Spiel kaputt gemacht. Tut mir leid, Erzähler-chan.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Ich gehe wieder zurück. Weil jetzt sind da mehr angeschaltete PCs. Ich habe gesagt, ich drücke jetzt nicht irgendwas. Ich weiß, aber... Ich muss. Welcher PC war jetzt hier an? Der. Ich spiele Tetris. Ich will auch Tetris spielen! Ist das nicht der richtige Weg?
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny.
To Destiny.
Here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Okay. Finde ich super. Erzähler-chan. Da, 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 da. Ich bin echt encouraged. Thank you. jetzt eine Linie lang.
Wait, cut the music. Go back and look at that fern.
Soll ich angucken?
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You
Okay.
won't want to miss anything.
Okay. 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 Wo ist meine Musik hin?
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No, no. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Ich bin confused. Jetzt bin ich wieder hier.
Oh, no, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Ich glaube, ich habe das Spiel kaputt gemacht.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Okay. Okay.
Now, yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path,
Und
a
Luciel.
new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
You sure about that? I want Gale off.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Okay. Ah ja. Okay.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
Okay.
How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination
Ui, mir wird
corresponds with the
schwindelig.
counter-inverted
Erzähler
reverse door's
Chan.
origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will
Erzähler
taking the
Chan.
right door lead us to where we're going?
Erzähler-chan, mir
And
ist
since the
schwindelig.
answer is clearly yes, then by all
Erzähler
accounts,
Chan.
the door on the right is the correct one.
Erzähler-chan.
Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Oha. Das Verwirrungsende.
Oh, hold up, what's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
Linie wiederfinden und
That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Bro!
What if I don't want to forget?
Bro!
My mind goes blank simply
I don't
because
wanna
it's written here
die.
on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really?
Ich auch! Ich möchte
No,
sterben!
it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The,
I don't know.
whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you...
Okay. Das Spiel hat sich selbst nur gestartet. Wild. Erzähler-Chan? Hallo? Hallo? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
That ball inside you had self stop. Okay, warte. Okay, ich gehe einfach. Closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's
Ich mach das jetzt
office.
einfach, weil ich habe Angst.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number.
Ja.
2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
4 und 5. Ich komme nicht zu 5.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Okay. Ist dunkel. Ich mag die Dunkelheit nicht. Oh, roter Button! Ich habe Angst. Das kind of creeps me out.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest,
Yeah.
as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Nö.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with
Eins bis
television
hier.
screens. What
da
horrible
oben.
secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Okay.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
What have I done? Did I broke the game? Game? Hello?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
Okay.
And Stanley was happy.
I was. Aber es ist ein Verwirrungsende. Ich hab Angst. Beende das Spiel. Okay, das ist jetzt das normale Ending. Das meant to be ending. I guess. I suppose. Aber es wird ein Verwirrungsende. Hä? Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Nein.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Da war ich schon. Ich will da aber wieder runtergehen, weil,
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
da war ein Escape-Ding. Da will ich rein.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Ah, hier.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, This keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845.
2845.
But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Wieder runter. Loading, 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 loading.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Excuse me. Well then. Ich mag Tod. Tod ist sympathisch. I guess.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Wirklich? Oder lügst du mich an? Ich lüge mich nicht an. Aber ich will nicht wieder das langweilige Ende spielen. Escape-Ende. Es ist... Ich escape ja. Tod. Was für Tod, Alter. Niemals.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ich konfrontiere meinen Tod? Wirklich? Ich sure? Okay. The end is never the end. Is never the end is loading. Never. Sympathisch. Ich falle. Au.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Okay. Das ist echt cruel.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Hä?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Okay. Warum bist du jetzt auf einmal eine Frau? Oh, mein Computer. Knopfgeräusche. Ich bin verwirrt. Wartungsraum. Erzähler-E-Mails. Sevilla, final warning. There's a skeleton inside of you. There are more skeletons. A question brought forth by the intense passion of my soul. Miss Stanley, are you spying on me? I don't. Why? Will the game future capybaras? Capybaras? Pixisift, the narrator. How do you stay in shape? Michael the Rock Martin. Gay. Are you gay? Ja. Ich bin gay. Wohnungstimer? Oha. Was ist das? The game is now paused. Begin the game, resume the game. Options, return, Pause-Menü. Countdown, Schreibtisch. Einer der Schreibtische aus einer der ersten Versionen des Countdown-Endes. Bild. Irgendwie gibt mir das Unbehagen. Ah, wild. Komme ich jetzt wieder raus? Ich da runtergehen?
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another?
Erzähler und ich?
Perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
Ich soll meine PlayStation ausmachen? Ich brauche die nicht, ich will meinen Erzähler schon zurück. Erzähler schon?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Erzählerchan!
What could it mean?
Ich hab dich
Stanley decided
vermisst!
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hi! Erzählerchan!
When Stanley came to a
Good to
set
have
of
you
2
back.
open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Good to have you
Yet there
back.
was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office.
da sehe ich mich jetzt
Coming
eigentlich
to a
nicht mehr.
staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nö. Hier ist aber so rot. Hier bleiben.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine.
No, not.
I am okay.
Not me after every therapy session.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Hä?
This is
think I
the
broke
story
Stanley.
of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She
Mich ist
arose,
Mariella!
dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oh,
And
sexy.
although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she
Wow.
remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day. The very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Sympathisch. So.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
Hä? What's that supposed to mean? Okay. Ich habe Angst.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Okay.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
That's weird.